Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to iTREND on ITV. I'm your host, Zaheerah Bham Ismail. I don't know where in the country you are watching us from, but in Johannesburg we have beautiful showers to bless this morning. But we decided to get your pulse racing a little bit today, and to get you motivated to get out of bed and to get going. We have none other than the dynamic Layla Tayyab from Bromfies in our studio. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam, Zaheerah.
Layla, you are well known for running. That's what you're here for today. And I think, when I see weather like this, it's very difficult to get motivated to not want to stay in bed, but to actually get motivated to want to get out and to get active. How do you manage this every day?
Running this weather honestly is the best. The air is thinner, it's easier to run, you can gain a lot more distance. You don't get hot, you don't get tired. The coolness just helps you in the run.
Spoken like a true runner, and all I'm thinking every time I'm hearing her saying this is, I want to crawl back into bed and put a blanket over myself.
I won't lie, that's one of the biggest challenges I face. Some mornings, you got to wake up at 3 o'clock to be ready to leave your house at 4, to be at the start line at 5, race starts at 6.
Oh my
And
goodness.
I sometimes think to myself, I'm really going to do this, I'm really going to do that. And that feel good and that euphoria after a 21K is amazing. And nothing compares.
Spoken like a true runner. Layla, let's just talk a little bit about you first before we get into what you do. Tell our viewers who Layla Tayyab is.
Okay, so I'm a personal trainer. I go under the name Burnt Lab. I go privately, I go house to house. I train particularly women. I wouldn't say Indian women or Muslim women, but that's kind of like my core target market. Given the challenges as a Muslim woman we face, we've got our Fajr, we've got our Isha, we've got so many other things happening. There's the dynamics of the kids, there's home, there's work. You're kind of juggling all these things. Sometimes the biggest challenge is finding enough time to look after yourself. 30 minutes in the car to go to gym, 45-minute session, 30 minutes back. That doesn't suit our lifestyle. We can order everything from Uber Eats to online shopping. Can you get a personal trainer in your house? That's where the gap in the market was, and that's exactly what I do. I go to clients' houses with my kit bag, give them their session at their convenience, their time, their sort of goals. Everybody's on a different fitness level. I've been running for the last 6 years, so my levels might be different to perhaps your levels.
Oh, definitely. It's very different compared to mine.
But I'll take your goals and your kind of fitness where you're at, and we'll just cater something for you.
Layla, you said to me that you started running 6 years ago. Okay, firstly, well done and congratulations, because to have the determination to stick to something for that long is pretty impressive in my books. But how did you even get started? Why running? Why, out of all the exercises, you're a personal trainer, you could have opted for many other options, and just sticking to doing personal training at homes, yoga, Pilates, whatever it is. Why choose running?
Okay, so I have a little secret. The personal training only came in the last 2 years. I've got a BCom marketing. I've been in corporate for I don't know how long. The personal training came primarily because of the running. I started running, I suppose, from high school days or from school. I've always been active. I played girls action cricket, girls soccer, tennis, whatever you name it. In Joburg, it was more like a social. So the running was post-work, go to Rosebank, start running 5, 10K, skip traffic, go home. Same reason why the gyms are so full at 5 in the morning, 5 in the evening. You get your gym session in, and then good and well. So when I started running, it was more like a social. You start off 3Ks, 4Ks, 5Ks, and that internal sort of motivation and that challenge, I did this, it's under my belt. I did 5Ks today, tomorrow I'm going to do 6Ks. The next time I'm going to do 5Ks faster or better. And that's the motivation that keeps you going day in and day out.
And that makes you wake up on rainy days like this to get out of bed and start running. Layla, you've had 6 years of this running, and you've also got a lot of people involved. I mean, I watch your page and I see this run happening. I see you getting people actively involved. I see things happening on weekends. But the one thing you mentioned just now that you said was about finding the balance and knowing about when Salah time, how we manage our families, how we manage our kids. How do you manage everything in your day? Because you do a lot.
So hence, like I said, the personal training came in the last 2 years. I was a pacer for Nike South Africa for the last 3 years. When I started running, it was more like a social, and you pick up the endurance. With all the running's breaking down your muscles. I needed to find that balance and train myself and strengthen my own muscles. I didn't have enough time to work, gym, and run. Running is my passion. If you can't find enough time to gym or you don't know what to do, go study it yourself. And hence I became a personal trainer. So now I'll train myself, and then I'll go train others in the way that they want to be trained. And then I still get to do my running at night. I might not run for Nike South Africa, but I still maintain all my running. I run 3-4 times a week.
Alhamdulillah, that's absolutely fantastic. You mentioned being a pacer. Tell us a little bit about what that means and what it meant for you.
It was an amazing opportunity. Nike South Africa picked me. They asked me to pace set for them. So I'm at the forefront, pacing a group of 15 or 20 people from start to end. So say you're running Oceans or Soweto Marathon. Lails, I want to do it in 2:30. No problem. You follow me. I will run at that pace from start to end, and I'll get you your targets. It's about your goals, your fitness levels.
That's absolutely remarkable. So anybody who wants to participate in any race can come and chat to you and figure out how to do their pacing, how to work the proper running, except Leila doesn't understand. If it was someone like me running behind her, she'd have to slow down quite considerably.
But that's one of the nicest things, and I promise you, over the years, you kind of, especially with Nike, you got to learn to have patience. It's not about your fastest or your best. It's having the patience to carry somebody through. I've been in it for 6 years. So I've got my PBs, sorry, my bad, personal best. Right, okay, so you know.
The only reason I know that is because I am part of a running club. So that's the only reason I know what that is.
So I've already got my PBs. I've done mileage. I've done distance. Now, if somebody's kind of starting off, and I do it with a lot of my friends also, in the last 3 years, the running industry has just boomed. There's so many more people running. And I think, let me help them get them to where I am or get them to where they want to be. When I started, back in the day, we started off as Braamfontein runners in the middle of Braamfontein, and a lot of people held my hand. They kept me going. Till today, I'll have people like, you got this, you got this. That constant whisper in your ear on an uphill. It's amazing. You need that someone to help motivate you and push you.
I was just going to say, I think that is, people underestimate that part of it, the camaraderie and the spirit of actually helping someone along. I know when I ran 2 Oceans last year, there were roads where I thought, there's no way I'm actually even making this. And somebody was next to us and said, you've got this. Just run to that tree. As soon as you get to that tree, you'll be fine. And as we got to the tree, he was like, okay, now you're here. It's just a little longer, just right till there. And that made such a difference because it was just somebody motivating you to just keep going. And I almost feel it's synonymous with life, where you almost need somebody there to say, you've got this, just a little longer and you've got it.
Running has taught me so much. As you say, just with life, you have ups, you have downs. After up or down, you'll have a bit of a straight. After every climb, the view is amazing. In life, we're thrown with so many challenges, we're thrown with difficulty. Allah says you will be tested,
Absolutely.
After every test will come in ease. I promise you with running, it's the same. After an uphill, you get to a water point, or you get to catch your breath. On the downs, you catch your breath. It's all about your running stride. And although it's an individual sport, you're not racing for number 1, first, second, third prize. 2 Oceans, for example, you're competing with 16,000 people. You're not one in 1, 2, 3, 4,000. But it's your own personal best every time. You keep challenging yourself day in and day out.
And as we said, it's so synonymous with life. At the end of it, you come out of it. You feel that you've managed something. You've tried the best that you can. You've reached your personal best. And you look at it and you think, it wasn't actually that long.
It wasn't that bad. And oddly enough, straight after a race or marathon, you got that high and you're like, I'm registering for every other race.
That was me.
So yeah, you've got that, that whole high and that I've done this for me. Like I'm saying, there's 16,000 people. You're not racing against them. You're racing against yourself, your own time. Some days in rainy weather, you might run with wet socks. The next time you do that exact same route, it's a hot day or it's a cold day, it's very windy. The wind will play a difference in your running stride. Taller people run easier. Their strides are faster and quicker.
I'm going to use that as my excuse next. Leila, you said to us that you were initially in corporate. I have to ask you, there are many ladies that often find that are seated on this chair that will say to me, they were doing this before and now this is what they're doing and this is where they found their passion. How big or how small was the transition for you from corporate to actually saying, I actually want to follow my passion?
It was a leap of faith. Honestly, you take a leap of faith. I've always been running. So for the last 6 years, I was running. While I was in corporate, I would leave corporate early, or like I say, to kill traffic, or, just kill some time, get some fresh air. Whatever happens to you in your day in corporate, meetings, this, that, you're confined in a space. There's a very big difference between treadmill running and outdoor running. You see the greenery, you see the grass, you see the sunrise early morning, you see the sunset. For me, the transition wasn't that difficult because I've always been running, and with the running, I've always been strength training. Just finding that balance became a little bit more difficult. So in order for me to maintain my running and maintain my strength, it was like, Bismillah, let's see what happens. If it takes off, it takes off. If it doesn't, either way, I'd still have to do my own strength training and my own running, you know.
I think it's, you know, many people that are watching always think we have to be stuck in this routine of doing a certain job and a certain thing because that's all we know. And I'm so inspired by women like yourself and many others that have been seated on this chair, and I've no doubt many others that will end up here as well, who are willing to take that risk to say, I'm just willing to let it, to see how this goes.
Sometimes you have to, you know, the greater the risk, the greater the reward.
And have you found the reward has been great?
No, it has been. It really is a great reward. You know, helping other people reach their goals, you know, especially with the personal training and fitness, motivating, inspiring someone else. People have done it for me when I started running. You know, I am where I am today because of everybody that's played a role. I've met with comrades runners, with ultra runners. You meet so many people from different walks of life. It's not just to say, okay, I've got one run team. I've joined like 1 million run teams. You run different routes all the time. You meet different people. I remember my first Oceans, I met a guy from America. You know, he came all the way to South Africa, to Cape Town to run. Soweto Marathon, the big marathons and the big races, you meet a lot of people. You interact with these people. You take advices and you take tips from them. Nike has given me the opportunity to build on my strength. I had an amazing coach who would believe in me more than I would believe in myself. Layla, you've got this. Layla, you're going to do this. No, coach, I'm sick. No, coach, I don't feel like doing it. Layla, you're going to do this. Okay,
I'll do it.
Put your game face on. You run, and at the end of it, like, I could do it. I knew I could do it. But, you know, you sometimes you're a bit scared. You don't know your own strengths and your own powers until someone pushes you off the cliff. And
I love that. Stay tuned. When we come back after the ad break, we'll be continuing our conversation with Layla about running tips and how you can get involved, how you can get started. And if you do have any big races coming up, now's the time to call in and get your tips. But we'll be back straight after this break. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back after that ad break. We're chatting to the dynamic and vibrant Layla Tayyab from Bromfie's Burn Club SA. Layla, we were talking about your journey in terms of running, how you got involved, the 6 years it's taken to actually get you to where you are right now, the determination, the perseverance, and nothing else but the sheer passion that's involved in it. For many of us that have tried to run, that have done a few 5Ks here and there, let's start from the beginning in terms of just tips and tricks. So to start off with, if somebody out there is watching the show and says, I actually want to start running, how do you actually start running? And don't say, just start running.
One foot in front of the other, right over 5Ks. No, you got to start off slowly. You know, nobody's like just going to be like, hey, I'm going to run. Problem is, a lot of people, and I have a bad habit, when I start off, I start off a bit too fast, and then you kind of start dying down a little bit later. So you always want to start off slower and then pick up your pace as your body warms up. The most important thing is a nice warm up, especially in weather like this. You got to warm your muscles up, stretch it out, start running. It's a run-walk strategy. In the beginning, you're going to like pole to pole. You know, let's do a 1K, let's do a 2K. I started off in a running group, and at the time we all started off together. 3K, 4K, you know, you pick it up, you pick it up, and then you keep breaking barriers. It's for yourself. At the end of the day, I can tell you, come Zaheerah, let's go run, let's go run. No, I'm cold, no, I'm tired, no, I'm lazy. But if you've got that determination, and you see the other health benefits that comes with it, over and above the health benefits, it boosts your self-esteem, your confidence. On a spiritual level, I mean, you're watching the sunrise, you're watching the sunset. When you talk about the gardens of Jannah, what's the first thing you think about? Grass and greenery. You running in all of this, how does that not reaffirm your faith and your belief in Allah Ta'ala?
Oh, that's absolutely beautiful. I love how you've connected so much in terms of your lifestyle, the running and that, with the spirituality. And I think there's nothing better than that, because it just keeps you grounded and it keeps you in touch with a higher purpose more than anything else.
It keeps you grounded. And at the end of the day, you realize you're nothing on this earth but just time. You know, you don't know what your time is, how long Allah has kept you here for, what your purpose and what your goal is. You aim to do your best. You know, each and every run, some days, you know, you think to yourself, I can't do this, but you got to do it. And you've got that internal motivation. So likewise, when you start running, you've got some form of like, okay, motivation. I want to run. Why do you want to run? I want to run for this. I want to run for that. And slowly but surely, over the years, you learn life lessons. It just changes you internally, you know, from the inside out. And once you get the running bug, I promise you won't turn back.
Leila, you mentioned just now about the health benefits of it, but very often we hear people saying to us, you shouldn't be running because it's going to cause injury on your knees, you're going to have problems going through this, there's only a certain amount of Ks, you should be running at a maximum. What's your advice when it comes to that?
You know, I know people who comrades like 5, 6, 7, 8 years in a row. You know, there's a bit of a misconception. A knee is a joint. Right, the same like your hip, the same like your elbow. You get a tennis elbow, but not only tennis players get a tennis elbow. A teacher will get a tennis elbow from writing on the chalkboard.
Absolutely.
Strain in overuse, you got to do strength. That's key. I can't express it enough. Running is breaking down your muscles, no doubt about that. The minute your muscles get too weak, it is going to start taking strain on different joints of your body. Strength training is key, paramount in everything that you do. Hence the jump from, you know, just running, which I was doing just running, and then I became a personal trainer, so I never have to work a day in my life.
I love that. I love that. Leila, for those that are already onto their 5Ks, have done the 2Ks, I know many of us will say, you know what, 2Ks I know I can manage without having to stop. How do you actually get yourself to that 5K mark? Or the 10K?
Endurance, a lot of strength training. It's just mind over matter. It's nice to always have a big group to do it in. Also, you got to do some training. You can't just jump from a 2K to a 10K. Yes, you can register for a 10K. You probably walk, run. Like I'm saying, it is a slow progression. You got to have patience with yourself. You start off 2K, 3K, 4K. The golden rule is you increase by 10% per week. You do a lot of strength training. When I say strength training, over and above just actual physical gym work, you want to do some track sessions. You want to do some hill sessions for the road, depending on which route you're going to do. I've done so many races in and around Joburg. If you've ever tried Randburg route, Randburg is full of hills. You know, Westcliff, we do the park town. We Bromfie runners, we run in and around Hillbrow and town. You seldom get a straight. So when you do stuff like hill repeats and speed sessions, it helps you with the speed, it helps you with endurance and the hills.
When you talk about running around Johannesburg, I know I'm not sure about whether you know of other cities or other towns, but in terms of safety, how safe is it? And also when you mentioned track running, what's the accessibility of us getting access to these spaces?
I've never been turned down from Wits track. We train as Nike Run Club on Wits track and UJ track. And generally, like on a random Saturday or Sunday, if you tell them you want to use the track, I've never ever been turned away. I've been using the track for the last couple of years. I feel it's quite flexible and you can get in. Look, there is a bit of a crime that you're kind of wary of. Like I said, in the last 3 years, the running industry has grown so much. People are now aware that you're running with a smartwatch, your kit, your shoe, your techie, your smartphone, those sorts of things. Always running groups.
Absolutely.
I feel that's key, especially if you're female. A lot of times I've said no to certain runs. I wasn't happy with the place or the venue, or there's too little members. So you kind of always have to think on those lines. Safety comes first. Big groups get a nice route, the safer routes. But the nice thing is you kind of like own the streets. You know, it's like your own urban jungle. You get to explore so many things. I'm originally from Mafeking. So for me, being in Joburg and running certain routes, now if I'm caught in traffic, I know how to manipulate the route because I've run it before. That's the best way to learn a road, right?
And this is the way the farm girls take over the city. You run it. Leila, Two Oceans Marathon is something that's trending at the moment, something that's coming up. I know you've run Two Oceans Marathons as well. That's 21 Ks, to run 21 Ks. Tell us a little bit about that experience, and also for the runners out there that are planning on doing the Two Oceans next week.
It's an amazing opportunity. The nice thing about Cape Town is obviously the sun rises an hour later. So in Joburg, say the sun rises at 6, the race still starts at 6 o'clock. But like I say, you know, you're watching sunrise, you're watching sunset. The sun rises only at 7 there. It's amazing. You know, you're running a route, you're looking, your overview is Cape Town, and you see the sunrise. How does that not reaffirm your faith? Best advice I can give runners is take it in your stride. You know, some people push too fast. They start off too quick. You burn out. ASA rules are no music in a run, so you control your breathing, you focus on your breathing. Sometimes the music messes with your heart rate. You know, in a gym, music is sometimes beneficial with adrenaline, but especially in a road run, it's not allowed. So it does mess with your heart rate. You want to control your breathing, your heart rate, take it in your stride. You know, you're doing it for yourself, your own PB, maintain a proper pace, do like a run walk strategy, have water at every like 3 or 5 Ks. Just listen to your body. There's physios along the sides, along the lines. If you feel something's wrong, there is a bus if you feel that you can't make it. But generally, go there and have fun. You know, you're not aiming for first or second place. Go have fun. It's an amazing opportunity, and that feel good that you get after having it under your belt. I've done it. I did it. You know, it was me against me. And then next year you register, you go do it again, or you go find another 21K, and you keep bettering and bettering yourself, and you challenge yourself.
And you get a medal at the end of it, which is most important.
The medal's the best part.
Leila, there's 2 questions I want to get in before we end your segment. The one is about getting the right types of shoes, because very often many people just say, I've got my sneakers I'm going to the gym with, I'm just going to put that on and we can run. Is there a specific type of shoe that we need to be having, or can we just get into our tackies and just go running?
So you must have seen at Total Sports. You walk into Total Sports, you've got running, you've got training, you've got tennis, you've got golf. Running shoes are very specific, right? Your cushioning is most important. Everybody runs differently. Some people pronate, some people supinate, and some people are just neutral runners. I obviously naturally run in Nike. So there's a few different shoes, right? You get certain shoes that have the barefoot feel. I personally pronate. Generally, most women will pronate after a certain distance. So you need a bit more stability where your foot pronates. If you supinate, you need stability. You need the correct running shoe for your form. Without the correct running shoe, you will get injured. So and it's not the running, it's the shoe.
It's the way we've made sure we're ready for the race in all aspects. Are there places people can go to see the kind of, the manner in which they run so that they can get the correct shoe for it?
Yes, most definitely. I know most of the sports shops, they'll let you run on a treadmill and they'll show you where your running stride is at different paces and different intensities. Once they see what your running stride is, they can recommend the best shoe for you.
Great. Now my second question that comes in is about food. Very often people say, oh, I'm doing running to lose weight, and then are very heavy on saying I'm not going to eat anything at all. But with running, you actually have to eat to be able to have the endurance to complete a race.
You must have heard the term carbo loading, right?
Yes.
It's not just the night before. Your nutrition and your hydration in the weeks leading up to a big marathon, whether it's Oceans or Comrades, particularly even during a run, you need proper nutrition, proper hydration. It's always a 80-20. You know, you can't just like, okay, for 2 weeks, I'm going to eat clean. It's a lifestyle. You've got to be eating clean in order to be able to put the mileage and the distance in.
So basically running for you is a balance of everything. It's the right food, the right support in terms of not just the people around you, but even the right shoes, making sure you have the right team and tying that up with spirituality.
As well as my family support. I don't think I'd be where I am without my family supporting me. You know, you give up a lot. It's a lot of dedication, waking up early mornings, you know, leaving the house, coming back late nights. If you don't have the family backing, family support.
Absolutely. Leila, it's been such a pleasure having you on air. I love following your page. I love seeing your tips, your motivation. If you're not following her page, please do so. Yesterday, Leila posted a lovely picture with tips on healthy snacks, and it actually looked really lovely. It was a nice picture to see and very motivating, especially during the public holidays.
No, exactly.
But we will be following you very closely, and we look forward to joining one of your runs very soon.
I mean, definitely. I look forward to it.
Fantastic. That's Leila Tayyab getting us from Burn Club SA, getting us motivated to get out of our beds, get motivated, get fit, and get out there and just start running. I love how she tied up the running with spirituality and with the lifestyles that we lead to say that, you know what, sometimes things are difficult. And I know for many of you out there, things sometimes are a little bit difficult for all of us. There are those hills, there are those challenges in our lives. But when we get to the top, the view is worth it. And when we get to the end, it will be worth it all. And we'll say, I managed to do that, inshallah. Stay tuned. When we come back, there are 2 more dynamic ladies on our show today. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back to iTREND on ITV. we're done with the first segment where our guest motivated us to actually get out and get going and to physically be active. And now I've got two dynamic, vibrant ladies in my studio with me who are going to motivate us to actually put some thought behind the things that we do. Welcome to the studio, Umayya Teva and Samira Jadwat. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Samira and Umayya run a company called wordcouture.com, Word Couture Company.
Yes.
And this is a group that's so dynamic. I've been following you and I'm just in awe of your talent, the way you write. And what's lovely is that it's two Muslim women standing behind this phenomenal company. Tell us a little bit about each of you, Samira.
Okay, so I'm actually from Volksrust. I moved to Pretoria to study journalism. That's where I met Umayya on the first day of campus. We've been friends ever since. After I graduated, I moved back to Volksrust and I worked in corporate at Eskom doing corporate communications. From there, I was varied my interests and I started studying graphic design and then I started studying teaching. And in between,
So you've been all over.
All over. I like studying. And yeah, and then during that time I was also blogging as well. And 2 years ago I got married and I moved to Joburg, and that's when Umayya and I decided to start our own company.
Fantastic. So this blogging seems to be a passion amongst friends.
Yes,
Umayya,
it
that's
is.
been something that you've also walked down.
That's true. I started blogging while I was working in corporate, and I just needed a creative outlet. I was writing about things like data bundles and value-added services, and I just needed something more creative to write about. And being fashion conscious, and I am still crazy about Italy, my favorite country. And I approached a company there in Milan. I was lucky enough to start writing for them. And I left corporate in 2013. So Samira and I, after I also got married, we decided that instead of myself looking for a creative outlet and Samira looking for a job, we'll just create our own opportunities, get out there and do it. There is a market for what we do. So
I have to ask you, before we get into what exactly you do, how difficult was it to leave corporate jobs that was, people always say it's stable, you know what you're getting at the end of the month, and to actually say, I'm doing something that's going to take me further, it's my own dream that I'm willing to pursue at this point?
So look, for me, it was a dream come true. And I literally had a job on the Friday and I resigned on the Monday. It was a very quick decision, but I just had enough of being tied to a desk and I wanted to do more. The sun shines beautifully outside. I wanted to pursue a passion. And when I left, I went to live in Italy for 2 months because, living in a place and holidaying in a place are
Absolutely.
two different things. And I must say, corporate was a fantastic training ground. It's where you really learn how to deal with people, how to treat customers, because that's the most important thing. Your customers are king. So that was what I got out of it. And I must say, also working in a big company, I was lucky enough to get a lot of training. So training in user experience, in online PR, in social media management. And all of that has been to my benefit now, especially with our business.
So I have to ask you, Sam, what's it like working with your best friend? Because, I know with many of my best friends, there are moments where we just want to kill each other, but we love each other.
Yes.
But
No, we
now
never
you're
fight.
working.
We never fight.
Are you serious?
Never
Yes.
ever. Well, to be honest with you, Samira's the sweet one. So she just gives into whatever I say.
So I'm the introvert, she's the extrovert, so yin and yang, so we work perfectly together.
It's a good balance.
You need someone to push you and to support you, and I think we're there for each other.
Yeah,
that's
and
most
she's
important.
really
amazing.
hardworking, and she's very talented and dependable and honest, and I need someone like that. To go into business with someone, it has to be the right fit.
So for many people out there who are watching, who are saying, I'm contemplating going into business with a friend, this is what you need. This is the trustworthy
Yes.
compatibility and a partnership that makes it work.
100%.
And the same understanding of the way you want to do things and where you want your company to go.
So was this something that you discussed many years ago, or was this something you decided at both at the same time, saying, hey, you know what, let's try this?
It goes back to, like I say, I got married in February of 2016, and I needed to broaden my horizons and get start writing again because I had stopped blogging. And I wasn't traveling to Italy as much. And Samira got married in May. And she was moving to Johannesburg. She needed to find some work. And I said to her, no, Sam, let's create our own opportunities. And that's how it happened. She said yes. before we knew it, we had our first client within the first week, a company called Styled. So it's also right up our alley, fashion-based.
Yeah, it was the perfect first project.
And a week later, well, before the company was registered, we had already done 2 more websites. So,
Brilliant.
it was
So
great.
tell me a little bit about what Word Couture actually does.
Anything that can be written, we write. Digital media, print media, anything. So if you have a website that needs to have pages written up, company profiles, emailers, whether you need your hospitality industry, communication, basically everything that can be written.
With things moving so fast in a digital-paced world, with technology being so advanced, everyone using voice notes, is there still space for the written word?
Definitely, because I think, writing for online is certainly different to writing for print, because when you read a book, you're reading word for word, line by line. But when you're reading on a device, we know through user testing and methods of testing like eyeball tracking that when people are reading on a screen, they tend to read differently. They actually scan rather than read, because the eyeball falls on different parts of the screen.
Yes.
So for us as copywriters, now we know that because of that, that way that people scan, we cannot write passages and passages of text. We actually have to write our text much shorter, punchier, to the point. And as easy as that may sound, it's actually a challenge, because you have to get the same message across in fewer words, and you still have to be conversational and friendly and stick to a brand voice for whichever business you're writing for, and that's a challenge.
No, it actually is a huge challenge, because I'm sitting and I'm listening to that, and I think many of us don't even realize that when you're sending out messages or you're putting up information about your companies, it's exactly that. If you're not getting the message across in a short space of time, using the right words, you've lost your target audience completely.
Yeah, and also the text has to be, the way text leads the user into journeys, it has to be intuitive, and text plays a big part in how user-friendly or a website is and the user's experience on your website.
Do companies understand the value of what you're offering?
Okay, so sometimes it's a little difficult, but the best way to prove that is to point out mistakes, which we like to do.
Awesome.
It was actually quite funny. So I was in Egypt about 2 weeks ago, and I went to a town called Abu Simbel, and at the hotel there, while we were having dinner, I wanted to order a drink. And looking at the beverage menu, I was appalled, because the number of spelling errors, as an English-speaking person, understanding it is one thing, but now you have tourists who come there and they cannot understand what's drinks.
Absolutely.
Because they would know the word drinks. And I pointed the errors out to the restaurant manager, who told the hotel manager, who then came to speak to me, and next thing I knew, he was sending us Photoshop files, and Zaheerah and I were fixing menus for a hotel in Egypt. And that's a freebie, because we're so passionate about what we do and fixing things and making it look more professional, that we're often happy to do the work, and the company then sees the value and then gives us more work to do that's paid for.
Absolutely, and that's the way to work it.
Yeah.
Zaheerah, what has been the biggest challenge for you in terms of getting into this kind of an industry?
I think, well, because I'm the introverted one, I think getting myself across, getting my point across, that's been difficult. But thankfully, I have Umayya to help me along during business meetings and things. So that was a bit daunting, but slowly getting used to it.
And for you, Umayya?
Challenges. I guess, look, in the beginning, it's all about finding your clients. And, you could go to 12 meetings and probably only 10, not get 10 of those clients to sign on, and you get 2. And then it's about making that client happy and spreading yourself a little bit thin, because I still do subcontract to a corporate company. So that's in my personal capacity. But again, I have Zaheerah, who is always available whenever I need her to do something for me really quickly, because I'm in my car driving, or, so
it works.
Yeah, it's just spreading myself thin, and for Zaheerah well.
So we're going to have to go for an ad break, but when we come back, I also want to talk a little bit more about the company development, the company name, which I absolutely love. It's one of the most stylish names I've come across. So we'll talk a little bit about that, and also about how you balance it all.
Great.
Fantastic. Stay tuned. When you come back, you will no doubt be motivated by these ladies. Don't step too far from your TV screens. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. There never ever is enough time to get through these interviews. These ladies are people that you actually just want to be around all the time, because not only are they inspirational, but you learn so much from them. And I always love the conversations that happen off air, and I hope that we still give you the essence of that as well. Sam and Amaya, the name Word Couture Company, how did that even come about? Because it is a very stylish name, as both you ladies are. How did the name come around?
So we both had our fashion blogs, and we both writers, so Word and Couture. And Amaya can tell you about the craftsmanship
Yeah,
that
sure.
goes
Okay.
behind
Well,
it.
look, the Word Couture Company is not the most creative name that we could have conjured up,
I love it.
but it's an expression of who we are. We're fashion conscious, we love pretty things, we both had fashion blogs, and the word couture, which would mean high fashion, is what we compare our content to. So in the same way that a clothing designer would design and put his or her effort into the form of the dress and the structure of the dress, and the textures and the colors, it's the same sort of thing which we would do to craft our text. And so we do think of it as high, top quality text. And as I said, I think I may have said this to you off air, but Italy is my favorite country. And going to the different cities, Rome, Venice, Florence, and Milan, the fashion industry there, designers are well renowned for creating tailored, bespoke
Yes.
clothing. So that was also an inspiration to include couture in our name.
Because this is definitely tailored and bespoke writing for
Indeed.
people as well. But one of the things, before we get into the corporate structures in terms of what do companies get from hiring a company like this, the one thing I absolutely loved that we were chatting about is wedding stories. Tell us
Yes.
a little bit about that.
So wedding stories we decided to initiate from, I think, the end of last year.
Yeah.
And the inspiration came from the New York Times, where you get wedding announcements and you detail the whole day of the bride and groom, all the details, the food, the caterer, the decor, the dress, the special moments. So we wanted to interview couples and write their wedding story, which they can integrate into their wedding album.
Yeah.
I think it's such a beautiful idea because it's something that is absolutely not done.
Yeah.
Sure, and it captures the emotions of the day. And 20 years back, or 20 years into the future, when you look back, you'll have all this emotion flooding back when you read it, because that is how you felt, and that you also remember who helped your day to become a reality.
And I must say, as much as we think we'll always remember every single detail, the truth of it is we don't.
Yeah.
I'm 21 years into my marriage and I'm thinking, I can't quite remember what was on the menu. It's small things that we don't actually remember.
So it's a nice nostalgic way to look back at the biggest day of your life.
Absolutely. And what a wonderful concept that it's a niche market completely, because nobody else is doing that.
Yes.
Sure, and there are different styles in which the article can be written. So, you could make the wedded couple sound like a celebrity couple, or we could make it sound very newspaper-like. And, that can be printed out and framed, or it can go into your wedding album before the pictures. So it's just a really great thing to accompany your
And what a
wedding.
lovely positive part to be a part of in terms of somebody's good
Yes.
memories.
Indeed.
Definitely.
So now coming back to corporate and what Word Couture actually does for people. We know that on screen we've seen quite a bit of your work, and we see that you are the go-to girls for journalism, where people are coming to you saying, write this up for me. How easy or how difficult is it to almost put together a story or sell a product for a company?
Well, look, it's easy enough to do the work. The company would provide all the facts, and as we said, we would craft that. So we'd look at what platform this needs to be for, who's the target market, how many words we're looking at. Now, when it comes to actual writing, there's a lot that needs to be considered, again, for online and for the user's experience. So once the writing is done, you would want to help a reader actually read the text. So it's all about legibility. And there are best practices. So, laying your text out using bullets, or if you're giving instructions to number it, how would you incorporate your text links? Links always need to be blue and underlined, not to repeat words in one sentence. To use simple words rather than big complicated words, because if you use too many complicated words, your message may go over that person's head and the business doesn't achieve their target, and well, the customer doesn't move forward because they didn't understand it.
And obviously there is a strong need for companies to actually have the service.
Yes. So, a company, especially large companies, have brand voice and style guides. And the way they communicate to their customers, because a business wants a customer to take a certain step, whether that's shopping, buying something online, or booking a hotel room or flight online, and they want to speak to them in a way that's influential. So we would use principles that are called PET principles: persuasion, emotion, and trust.
I love that.
Yes. So you would use those principles inside your text or within your text to influence a customer to take a certain action. And that needs to go across a brand. So in the emailers, all the customer-facing touch points, emailers, website, app, SMS communication, so that the customer also knows, okay, I got this SMS, this is a Vodacom SMS, or this is an F&B SMS. And I know it because it's consistent. The minute of communication, if you get an SMS on your phone that has spelling errors in it, you immediately don't trust
Absolutely.
that. You think, okay, this could be a scam.
Yes.
So the way you write is very important for building credibility.
And I think for many of our younger viewers out there, the importance of writing is still very integral part of doing your work. And I think many people misunderstand that because we see things being written in shorthand. It takes me sometimes a long time to decode. When I get emails where shorthand is written, I actually just delete it. I don't even read it. It's too difficult.
And also WhatsApp abbreviations, so BRB, and kids forget how to spell simple words like love because it's LUV.
Absolutely.
So that becomes quite obvious for us, and we are there to ensure that doesn't happen. Although I must say, you will get products that are targeted at younger markets, and in that way, maybe you want to come across like that and use some of those words in your writing because it appeals to that customer.
You would know that. For the rest of us who can't read like that, we'll stay far away.
I don't think you'd be the target market.
Definitely not. Where do you want to see this partnership, this friendship, this business going from here? What are the dreams for going forward? I love the wedding stories. I love that it's not just corporate, that you're touching very personal aspects of individuals' lives as well. But where do you see yourself growing from here?
I think, we would like to grow our company eventually, maybe hire a few people to help us out, get more creative minds involved, and
to grow the company. I think it's great to be the two of us, and we know that each of us is dependable. But in the old end, to grow a company, you need to be able to expand with the number of people you hire. Although I must say, I read a book that's called The 4-Hour Workweek by Timothy Ferriss. And according to him, you don't need to do that.
You're still
because
good to
that
go.
just complicates your life. So it's better to just hire more freelancers and get people to help you out that way.
Absolutely. So what I love, I almost get the idea that this is just a huge mix of PR, of web designing, graphic designing, basically social marketing and a social persona, putting a social persona to anybody.
Yeah, and the thing is, persona is actually very important to understand your target market. So you actually you actually make up a person. This is who she is, this is what she does, this is what her day is like, and that helps us to also target our writing to specific people. That's part of user experience. So it's about making your website or app and the journey in such a way that the person interacting with it has a great perception of it.
Absolutely.
And then by word of mouth, that person tells everyone else, and that person keeps coming back to your website.
Fantastic.
So,
and I think you ladies have done such a splendid job of that. You truly are very, very gifted in your writing. I have yet to come across writing that really gives the message and drives it home so easily and so accessibly as the way the two of you do it.
Thank you.
Thank you
So
so much.
thank you so much for joining us on air. I'll definitely continue following you on your social media profiles, and I do urge you to follow them as well, because there's no doubt there's somewhere along the line you'll need a woman like this behind you. Thank you so much, and good luck with the rest of your journey.
And thank you for the opportunity.
It's been an absolute pleasure. We are never short of people who inspire us, who help us, educate us, and who motivate us. But what I love about the fact is there are niche markets and niche businesses that are coming up over and over again, very much like Word Couture Company. And the most amazing part is that it's Muslim woman driven. And for me, that's huge. So make sure you follow them, make sure you support them. And I have no doubt the day you need them, these are the ladies that are going to be able to drive your business home for you. Stay tuned to their wedding stories as well, because that's something that I think is so special, something that we don't see enough of. And if you're getting married, or if a friend is getting married, what a wonderful gift to be able to give, where you collate and you put together their wedding story. That's something that they can look at years from now that almost solidifies a very happy memory. It's a wonderful service that's being offered, and I have no doubt you'll find value in it just as much as I have. Thank you so much for joining us on air today. I look forward to seeing you next week, same time, same place. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.